Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scare Your Friends. We're back. We have a very limited cast today, but I'm joined by my friends, Dan and Dylan. How are you guys doing today?
We back!
We swifty.
We back!
We swifty.
We swifty.
Swifty good.
What up, John?
I'm going to need to get a new partner. Anyway.
We do have a limited cast. You want to explain why? A lot of stuff happened in the past month since people have heard from us.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things have been happening with me. I'm not going to get into those things. But essentially, William is just, he's doing fine. William's up at home right now with his parents. And Nate's just out with somebody right now.
Nate's got a girlfriend. That's what I was talking about. And she's a cool chick. She can hang with us. And we're a bunch of losers. So that's cool. So he'll probably won't be on the podcast ever again now, basically.
Yeah.
So
much
if you were a fan of Nathan.
Oh, so much to our detriment. Oh, no.
we lost like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, no.
But you just filled the void.
Oh, that was tough to fill. Anyway. Kidding. Today we're going to be reading two short stories today, potentially, depending on how long this first one takes us. Today we're going to be reading a story called The Game of Flashlight Tag. So, real quick, Manhunt. Manhunt is a game that I play. It's a great game. What is your? Let's talk about our experience playing the game Manhunt, because the game of Flashlight Tag, in case
we gotta make this podcast last as long as possible.
Except break the fourth wall.
No, I actually the first time I played Manhunt was I think it's different from Flashlight Tag. The first time I played Manhunt, I was in my first Boy Scout camper trip. When I went from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts, we had a really nice cabin that we rented out, and there was this open field. It was like the size of maybe like 2 or 3 football fields, and just trees like in a line. And we played through that whole field. The first time I ever played, I was like 12. It was probably like 12, 13 years old. It was awesome. And then I played recently again, actually, a couple months ago at one of the parks near, actually, your hometown, I think. That's where. Now everybody knows where John lives. I was trying to skirt it, Dill, but thanks.
I'm sorry. I really was.
For fuck's sake!
Well,
Did you miss us, guys? Did you miss us and our stupidity?
They don't know the state, right?
Oh, jeez. Yes, we have told people that we live in fucking Long Island,
well,
not even New York.
Well, technically, he does not live in that town.
Holy shit!
By technicality, so
holy shit.
Okay.
Okay.
What story are we in, John? Game of Flashlight Tag.
All right.
Let's do it. Do you have any manhunt experiences, Dylan?
When I was 7.
You probably will if I could tell you where I could tell the people your exact address. Then there'll be a real manhunt going on.
Anyhow, Mr. Sarcastic fuck over here.
Well, I gotta compensate for William. That's what happens.
Okay, anyway, I was like 7 years old at my mom's friend's house over at Oyster Bay. Literally, as soon as it turned night, we run everyone's neighbor and all their neighbors.
7?
7, yeah.
That's
pretty
known
young
you for a very long time. That's pretty ballsy. That seems a little out of character.
No joke. We were 7 years old. I was with my mom's friend's house, Carolyn. Her sons Connor and Quinn. They would go into all the neighbors' yards and start hiding. There was this one neighbor's yard that was, it was dug in pretty deep. So like when you went down, it was like about 4 feet tall. And being 7 years old, it was pretty hard to climb back up, especially trying to hide.
And then you found a body.
No, it was all fun, nice and fun. Just
my manhunt experience actually involves William.
Oh,
so
of course it does.
Right, so we were at his old house. He kind of lived in a bigger house at the time. We were both 13. He lived on a dead end. Right, so basically it was like literally it was one of those roads. I don't know what they're called, but it's one of those like roads. It goes down and it goes into like a circle.
Cul-de-sac.
A cul-de-sac, yeah.
Cul-de-sac.
They lived on the cul-de-sac basically. Okay. So there was like this whole like line of houses on both sides and like this circle. And basically we had to get to this one house, which was at like, if you're facing the cul-de-sac, if you're staying in the middle of the road and you're facing the cul-de-sac, it's the house on the right.
Okay. And
basically the people who were trying to get to the house, the team that was trying to get to the house had to run into the forest to the left.
Oh, God.
So we were on like one side of the street and the other team that was trying to tag everybody was on the other side of the street. And the whole goal was to get into this guy's garage.
That's cool.
One kid tried to climb on the roof.
And
injured himself doing it. And that's what ended the... No, it wasn't Will. It was end of the game. Me and William were a lot younger than a lot of the other players. So there was at one point me and William like ran basically to the end of the street, and there was this guy there who was like, "All right, on the count of 3, we're just gonna charge." And he had this scooter, and him and like 5 or 10 other kids just were like, "Charge!" And they like rode on bikes and scooters and just charged it. And me and William were like, "Yeah, we're not doing that. Let's go to the backyard and try to sneak it around."
See, it's fun when you're a kid.
Yeah.
When you're adults, just trespassing.
Yeah.
It's exactly. You know, honestly, yeah.
That's it.
I mean, honestly, yeah, we probably did a little bit of trespassing.
That's like when we went to what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago? We went to McAllister Park.
Yeah.
And it was after dark, and we were like,
yeah.
It was like, oh, it's really nice out here, but I'm pretty sure we're trespassing right now. You know, we're not going to get a slap on the wrist.
I said no one out after dark, but after dusk.
Yeah, but we
There
were
were people.
leaving. There was plenty of people walking in, so
There was no way to cross over to the other side.
there was. It was just high tide. You
It was
got to
high
go
tide,
slow.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
It was fun.
I mean, I guess this is a creepypasta story that's pretty self-explanatory based on the title. It is a game of flashlight tag.
Like
obviously.
my dead girlfriend keeps messaging me on Facebook.
Right. This is originally a no-sleep story, so hence the incredibly yeah, the no-sleep titles are known for being overly descriptive. So like, I've always made jokes about like writing a no-sleep story and being like,
"This is a no sleep."
no, like
No
it's like
sleep.
I saw a yellow ghost enter my basement, but when I opened the door, the ghost was no longer there, and now I'm scared. And that's like the title.
Is that like a Ghostbusters reboot?
What?
That's exactly what happened.
That's
in Ghostbusters
John's Ghostbusters reboot pitch.
Right.
They're rebooting it again.
Right.
Oh God.
Again.
Oh.
This time, all the characters have to be furries.
If you,
We have
I would
men,
watch that.
we have
I would
women.
watch that.
Now we need furry
Furries.
only.
I would watch that, or a group of transgender people. You gotta appease everybody.
You gotta appease literally everyone.
You gotta
yes.
appease literally everyone. All right.
No
Let's do
gays
this.
and lesbians. 2 separate movies for gays and
And
lesbians.
lesbians.
You hear that, guys? Like, comment, and subscribe. Let's read this story. So this is a game of flashlight tag. When I was 10, I played a late-night game of flashlight tag with a bunch of neighborhood kids. If you don't know what flashlight tag is, it's the same as tag, but you play it in the dark. The person who's it gets a flashlight, and they have to yell the name of the person they see with it in order to tag them. It was really cloudy that night, and most people had their curtains drawn, so it was the perfect level of darkness for hiding in. The side of the street my house was on was skirted by a broad length of woods. That was basically the boundary for our side of the game. You could run through any yard, even go across the street and run through their yards. But you weren't allowed to hide in the woods because it was too difficult for anyone to find you there. And it was very easy to trip over tree limbs or end up with poison oak. That's a really long sentence with a lot of ends and buts. Okay. Of course, this rule was frequently ignored when people got too close to being caught. They duck into the bushes for a few seconds or run behind a group of trees to evade capture.
Are these kids in the same neighborhood as the kid from Pen Pal? It's all connected.
It's all connected.
Dude, Pen Pal was great. I don't remember who it was at the time, but I was hiding in a backyard 2 houses down from my house. The family that lived there had a little playhouse for their daughter, a swing set and a doghouse, but no dog. That's suspicious. I would periodically duck into the doghouse.
The doghouse
That's
for the daughter.
Awesome.
Meg,
Wait,
who let you
is
inside?
the doghouse for the kid from, shit. I fucked it.
Okay, let's just assume that...
It's okay. It's okay.
So when we record these, let's
wide
pretend,
mouth. That's what I was thinking of.
let's pretend that no one's ever heard of Scare Your Friends before, and this is the first time
No,
they've heard it.
no, because we have to do callbacks so people go back and watch those episodes. That's the point.
But Dad, that's like really hardcore
But
selling
John,
out.
the whole point of this
Did you call
podcast...
him Dad?
No.
Dan!
But
Okay.
John, the whole point
You're
of this
dead.
podcast is to introduce people to creepypastas who've never read it. So the only frame of reference we have is the other ones that we've read.
Let's reread it from the doghouse.
Fair enough.
Okay.
I would periodically duck into the doghouse whenever I saw the flashlight searching beam approaching. Those of us trying to hide from the it person like to spook each other in the dark by jumping out of nowhere and making each other scream, giving away our positions. I thought I knew where the it guy was, but I got comfortable hanging out on the swing set. Suddenly a person with a flashlight came around the corner of the house and angled it almost directly at me. I jumped and ran for the edge of the woods. When I got there, I hovered in case they saw me and were going to yell at me for cheating. The beam of light, seemed to explore the swing set where I was, then came in my direction. but there was no sense of hurry at all to it, and I wondered for a second if maybe it had attracted the attention of the homeowner. Most people on the block knew we were out playing flashlight tag, because you never can be sure that someone wouldn't get nervous if you stay in their yard too long. So I crouched down in the grass and waited to see who it was. This actually reminds me of something that happened to me. It was another Boy Scout trip.
Okay.
Where it was summer camp. It was the first time I gone to summer camp for a week in Rhode Island, and we snuck out the first, but we were supposed to be in bed by 9 or whatever, and we goofed off all night because we were excited about the week ahead. So we were sneaking around the campsite, right? And at one point at 2 or 3 in the morning, we're all getting water from the cooler and the little kitchen area.
The bug juice.
And then the counselors flashlights hit us. We're like, fuck, and we all bolted. And everybody ran, and I was a scrawny kid who had no athletic ability. So I wound up running behind a tree and planking behind the tree, standing up, and watch as the flashlights passed over me. It was crazy. And everybody else, nobody got caught. But everybody ran into a tent, and here's me, because I was in the back of the line, my scrawny little self, and just sitting there.
Nice.
But yeah, they shined the light right on my face and tried to cover with my hand to avoid it. That makes sense. To avoid identification. The creepy thing was they never said anything. Just shine the light on me.
You got me, I exclaimed, hoping that if it was a homeowner, they'd realize I thought they were the flashlight tagger. Then I realized that 2 houses down, people were yelling, and there was the it guy's flashlight beam chasing them around. I stood up and tried to see who was shining the light on me. They just stood there, not moving, not saying anything. I felt a little freaked out. If you don't want us playing in your yard, I'll go tell them it's off limits, okay? The person started walking toward me. I didn't feel right, so I started walking toward the edge of the yard. The person just kept shining the light on me and coming toward me. So I ran.
The imagery there is actually really good.
Yeah.
Because you basically are just a silhouette is coming at you.
With a flashlight.
Yeah, because you can't see the fucking details of the person.
And it's I'm just gonna
Slender Man.
Is this the dude from Pen Pal? Is this the same guy that's chasing little kids around?
I'm thinking of Slender Man.
It's not Slender Man. No, stop.
I know it's not.
Can we
I'm
not?
just saying.
Just because it's the dark and there's a flashlight.
We have talked multiple times about how we should
audience.
not bring up Slender Man.
That's why I get shivers whenever you bring up Pen Pal and Wymouth, because that's what he did.
Yeah, what? Pen Pal's so good.
A while back. Whatever, I'll tell you later. It's not worth it.
I was gonna say, what the...
When I looked back, the person with the flashlight was running too.
Oh boy.
And they were an adult, much bigger and much faster than I was. I felt scared now. Not sure why this person was chasing me. I was running toward where the other kids had been, but they were gone now. It just seemed to be me and the person with the flashlight. So I turned right and ducked into the woods. I dropped to the ground, shaking bushes and stuff to try and confuse the person, and then shimmied under the rig of the thick bushes and curled up. I could see the flashlight in the woods with me, looking around. I could hear the person's footsteps breaking sticks and crunching on pine needles. I didn't know what the fuck was going on, and I wanted to get back with all the other kids. Eventually the flashlight wandered deeper into the woods, and I crawled quiet as a mouse back to the edge of the trees, and then got up and ran towards the street. I was immediately caught by the person who was it, but I didn't care. I yelled loud that I was now it, and I tried to tell him that there was someone else with a flashlight wandering around the woods, but he took off into the dark, yelling about no tagbacks. Don't go into the woods, I yelled, but nobody responded. Of course, anyone who heard me would just assume I was talking about not cheating at the game, but I was sincerely worried about the person wandering around them. Of course, now I had a flashlight of my own, so I thought, I should go and see if I can find out who that was, just to make myself feel better.
I went back behind the house I'd come from, and a bunch of laughing shadows scampered out of sight into the neighboring yards. I ignored them and headed straight for the trees. I couldn't see any other light in there, so I thought maybe he went home. I didn't know if it was a man or woman, but I didn't imagine any woman charging through the woods at night. That's sexist. So I went about playing the game again, albeit anxious because of the lingering thought that there was someone wandering in the woods who didn't seem to be playing the game with us. I ran across the street and chased people through the backyards there, but after a while I found the lots empty and realized they must have gone back across the street. I ran back over and was exploring the Beach's backyard. Mrs. Beach had a clothesline with a bunch of drying sheets on it, and her daughter Charlotte liked to hide among the linens and stay close to home in case she got too scared of the dark. She was only a year younger than me.
I love that name, Mrs. Beach.
I thought I heard something at the tree line, so I went over and was waving the flashlight around the woods. "Stay out of the woods," I remember yelling. I waved the flashlight back and forth a couple more passes, then saw someone off in the distance. I held the light on whoever it was. They were about half a job into the... What the fuck's half a job? Half a job into the woods, hard to make out, but it looked to me like Charlotte. Charlotte had brown hair that her mother insisted on keeping shoulder length. She always dressed dark for flashlight tag, and Charlotte liked to wear this deep purple sweatshirt, so it was usually easy to tell when you found her.
"Charlotte, I see you," I yelled. She just stood there, and I continued to hold the light on her and call her name. But she didn't seem to move. She stood there partially obscured by a tree and looked at me. The distance between us was enough that I couldn't see if she was blinking or not. But she had her head propped at an angle like she was looking around the trunk at me with her mouth hanging slightly open.
This kid's fucking dead.
Every now and then she sort of twitched or squirmed. It was really freaky. Really freaky kind of movement.
This kid's definitely fucking dead.
"Charlotte, come out of there," I yelled. "Everybody, Charlotte's it, but she won't come out of the woods." Some kids, including my friend Dustin, appeared behind me and started joining in my yell for Charlotte to come out. "Do you see her?" I asked. "Yeah, she's over there. She's over behind that tree." "Charlotte, get over here," Dustin said. But she wouldn't come. "Charlotte, are you okay? Get over here, dummy." Charlotte seemed to stand up straighter and then disappear behind the tree. We could hear movement, but it seemed to be going away rather than towards us. Dustin started shouting Charlotte's name again and trudging into the woods after her. But I grabbed him and gave him the flashlight to take with him. I was scared again because this all seemed surreal. I went to Charlotte's house and knocked until her father answered.
"Mr. Beach? I love that name, I'm sorry.
Mr. Bitch.
Mr. Bitch. Charlotte won't come out.
Charlotte's being a bitch.
That's my girl.
That's my daughter.
Wow, way to ruin all the tension of this story. Mr. Beach, Charlotte won't come out of the woods, and I'm worried about her, I told him. I wasn't sure if he'd take me seriously, but he rolled up his newspaper and disappeared into the closet behind the door for a moment before returning with a huge flashlight strapped to a car battery.
He was going to be like, return with a shotgun.
"Show me where she is," he told me, so I led him to the woods and pointed to where I had seen her. "She was right there," I said, "by a tree, but she wouldn't come out, and she was acting like she was sick or something. A bunch of other kids kept calling Charlotte. Charlotte and I could see Dustin's flashlight beam moving around through the trees. Mr. Beach went in after him. They explored the woods for a good 15 to 20 minutes before Mr. Beach started getting very angry. We could hear him yelling very loudly for Charlotte, threatening her with all sorts of punishments if she didn't get her ass back into the backyard that instant. The game was over by now, and we kids just stood there in the Beach's backyard among the linens and watched. Dustin came running back out of the bushes with a dead flashlight. Eventually, Mr. Beach came back out of the woods. "Game over, kids," he said. "Get inside, ask your folks if they can help me and to bring flashlights."
We all ran back home. My dad went out with 3 different flashlights. My mother went and turned on all the lights in the back rooms and opened the curtains and shades to help illuminate the backyard. I sat on the couch all upset, and she eventually came back and hugged me and sat with me while I told her about the person with the flashlight chasing me and how I thought maybe Charlotte had run into him. Mr. Beach had gone inside and called them to report a missing child. They bought huge lights and did a march through the woods, checking very thoroughly, but didn't find her. My mother told my dad what I told her. He told an officer, and I ended up giving a statement. They went to the house 3 doors down and knocked, but the folks that lived there had been asleep and didn't know who would have been in their backyard. The police asked all up and down the neighborhood, but nobody claimed to know anything. The other end of the woods came to the back road, mainly used by logging trucks. They found Charlotte 2 days later. On the other side of the logging road, down an embankment that ended at a stream, stuffed into a drain pipe.
Oh.
Her neck had been broken, and she was apparently stabbed multiple times afterwards. My parents wouldn't tell me about it. They thought it would upset me, but Dustin told me all the details at school the next day. It was the most awful thing our town had ever had happen. The police blocked off the logging road and spent months tracking down loggers and truckers who frequently used it. There was a curfew for months, and we were told not to play flashlight tag anymore. We didn't argue. What leaves me shaking to this day is the memory of Charlotte's face, hanging out from behind the tree, looking at me. Sometimes I wonder if at that moment I had been witnessing her death, and I wonder if that had almost been me.
Oh.
And that was a game of flashlight tag.
This was really good. I
like
really
that,
like the story.
Yeah.
It's very simple. It makes sense. It wasn't like some random, like even in context, it's like, oh, it's an old logger road, so it could have literally fucking anybody passing through this town. And the setup is really good. The idea of like just kids playing flashlight tag, and there's this more sinister presence, and you can't see them because the light's shining in your face. Very simple.
And plus, it's every parent's nightmare that, you know, they're going out in the woods. Like, don't go out in the woods. It's too dark. Or if you do, bring a flashlight. Just
play flashlight tag in the yards. Don't go into the woods.
And sure enough, something happened to little Charlotte.
And the imagery is really good in this too. I feel like
I can imagine her with the purple sweater.
Yeah, it's really scary. It's creepy because you're basically looking like at this point he's basically looking at she's basically a corpse at this point,
or getting killed.
Well, clearly the guy is like hiding behind, or whoever it is hiding behind a tree with her fucking body, just like waiting for them to leave, and then he picks her up and takes off, which is even fucking scarier.
And the fact that it could have been him,
right?
He was just looking for someone to kill.
He was fortunate enough to duck and was able to shake him. Yeah, I really liked the story. I liked how simple it was, but everything made sense. It wasn't like it was very believable at every point. Like I said, the imagery is really solid. Yeah,
there's nothing I can really say about it. I mean, it's just a very simple story. It's a very simple concept. I think it's, again, creepypasta is always a genre that hits on nostalgia, and I think it's good when it does that. But sometimes, especially with the haunted gaming stories, they really feed it to you, where it's like, I remember playing Pokemon when I was a kid. Yeah. No, but like this is nostalgic because most adults have probably played either Manhunt or Flashlight Tag or something in the dark, or maybe they were in Boy Scouts, like I was a Boy Scout, and you know we played tag in the dark using flash. I mean, it's a very common thing that kids did, especially something we.
And everybody just used their flashlight and their phone, and they tag you in.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn millennials!
I like the actually thought it was a very clever way to do it, where it's like you keep, instead of tagging them, you have to identify who they are.
Right. Yeah, that was very clever.
This is another story with a child narrator, and I feel like this one, because we've read other ones with child narrators, nostalgia, looking back, and it's never been. There's always been things missing, or they are unreliable in some sense. You look at like Whimsywood, Pen Pal, even, or I keep bringing it up, or Widemouth again.
Yeah, I was gonna say Widemouth.
They're all children narrators who are like, I'm not entirely sure.
String Theory too.
Right. Well,
String Theory was he was like a high school student.
They were in high school.
Still,
that's fresher than what I'm talking about, where they're like 12,
this is like young,
8 to 12.
I mean, Widemouth, he was 5 technically.
Right. So we talk about, like, I would imagine this kid is young, maybe 8 or 9.
He says in the very
10.
beginning.
Right, he's 10. So, again, same kind of age range, but this is the first story I feel like it's concise. This kid knows exactly what happened. Like, he witnessed it. He's not like, I don't know, I'm a little hazy on some parts. This is, one night, I was playing tag, and this guy chased me, and then basically I saw this girl get murdered. Yeah. There's no, like, I think the story is better for it. There's no, like, ambiguity like the other stories that we read with children.
Also, this author, real quick, author as a credit, it is Twilight Sparrow. So Twilight Sparrow, good job with the story.
Good story. But like I was saying, it's no whimsy word where it's like, I don't know, you don't know exactly what happened. You're not sure, or Pen Pal, he's missing things, or things start to make sense as the story unfolds, and you have to look back.
Pen Pal almost doesn't even count, because like that's a whole, Pen Pal was like a coming of age story almost, where he's growing up.
It's structured intentionally that way.
Although the way that Pen Pal was written, Footsteps, originally the author, 1,000 Vultures, wrote Footsteps first as its own story, and then eventually wrote sequels to it, and then eventually combined them all into
and made a book, and it was fucking rad.
Yeah. Final thoughts. Flashlight Tag.
It was good. It was very good. Simple, clever, effective,
relatable.
Great. Yeah. Great.
Yeah, honestly, there's really nothing.
A solid 9.5.
And you know what else I like? And one thing I like about doing stories like this is I'm one of the people who doesn't believe that a story is weaker just because it has a child protagonist. I understand why people can think that sometimes, but if you can do it smart, like with String Theory, or like with other stories we've read, even I think Widemouth was pretty clever.
Right. You can have a child narrator and it can be unreliable, but that's on the author then. Yeah. To make it to have ambiguity, but it
make sense.
For it to be clear, right? Yeah. For it to make sense within the context of the story. Right. Absolutely, I agree.
All right, so our next story is going to be called The Basement. So,
The
I mean...
The basement.
So, do you guys have a basement?
You guys have
a basement? We're in one
as a
right
matter
now.
of fact, yes, we are in the basement right now. But no, anyway, no, seriously, like, has anything ever creepy happened to you in the basement? Anything you can recall? Or, like, where... Because I have a story with the basement, but, like, if you want to go first.
I mean, I was a little... I'm just going to say this. I'll say this. 10 years old, little bitch, after watching The Mummy. Every time I go by the tool room in the basement, I always thought...
Is that your room?
No, that's the room.
Oh, I got it.
Shut up.
The tool room. You are wearing a tools tank top.
It's a nice tank top from Hollywood, Florida.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay, Dylan. You're a very beautiful girl. Just keep going.
Anyhow, so I always got freaked out that there was the mummy creature from the movie Imhotep,
right,
in his decrepit form in the room, and I always rushed right up the stairs just because I was like, "Oh God, this thing's gonna get me."
That's how it opens, by the way.
I
can't wait
for
that movie.
And then I remembered I have cats, so it wouldn't do anything at all because cats are the guardians.
That's right. Dill strapped a cat to his chest when he went downstairs when he was a kid. So at 7 years old, you were running around your neighborhood whimsically, no care in the world, and then 3 years later, you see a fucking movie and you're terrified of your own home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like Dylan.
Yeah,
sounds like a lot of people actually. All right, anything with you, Dan?
Or... No,
you actually, I think in your house, your room is in your basement.
I've lived in there since I was like 12, 13. I'm not, whatever. Okay, the only like thing that really happened one time was that, and this was the inspiration for the creepypasta that I wrote and I showed you. I thought I was home alone, and I was upstairs like getting a drink, and then all of a sudden I just heard these it was my brother. But I heard these footsteps just bound up the stairs, and it scared the ever-loving shit out of me. And I was like, I should put that in a story one day.
So yeah, my experience with the basement, not my basement, but basically, this is something that happened at my grandma's house when I was very young. She basically told us that, so my grandma has, she has these stairs that lead to the main basement, but if you veer off to the right, there's the laundry room.
Right, okay.
And in the laundry room, there's this closet where she has an oil heater. She has an older house.
Okay.
And it makes a lot of noise, right? I was like maybe 4 or 5, and I was like, Grandma, what's that noise down there?
Oh, God.
And she told me, oh, that's just the witch.
Oh, my God!
She told me...
Your grandma's evil.
Right. Now, it took... I figured out that there was no witch. My brother, though. My brother...
You know what? That doesn't surprise me.
My brother was horrified of this switch to the point where even after he didn't believe it, like long after, like I'm talking 11, 12 years old, he still was like really shy about going into that room. And even like now, he like will not. I mean, there's not really a whole lot of reasons to go into the laundry room anyway, but like
there's the oil room or whatever.
It kind of
heater room the heater room is that closet room in my room. You gotta go through my room to get to it. I think the only experience that I had is not even like basement really related, but when I used to go to my cousin's house, we are the same age and he has an older sister. And when we were children, we used to sit in his room in the basement, and she just used to scare the shit out of us with like scary stories. Like she would just tell us she would just make up a bunch of bullshit about the house and like freak us out. And I hated it.
Spooky, scary.
Yeah.
Spooky, scary.
Like all the time, she thrived off of it. And me and my cousin were like, "Can you fucking not?" We're like 5. Stop,
please! I don't want to hear this.
Yeah. So
now let's see what this guy has to say.
Let's see what this guy's experience is.
Unlike the last story, which I don't think this is a no sleep.
This is short.
Yeah, but let's just dive into the basement.
Ah.
I was home alone for the week, as my family had gone on vacation while I had to stay and work. It was around 2 a.m., and I'd stayed to watch a scary movie in the dark in my basement.
This guy.
I was intent on really scaring myself and seeing how far into terror I can really go, while still knowing I was safe in my own home. It was then that I heard pounding footsteps on the first floor.
Oh, boy.
This was a common annoyance. This was a common annoying occurrence when my family was home. Every time they passed through the front hallway, past the basement door, I heard their footsteps. This time, fear immediately shot through me at the sound. My reflex was to turn the television off immediately. The basement door was up a flight of steps and around a corner, so whoever it was would not have seen any light. I heard the basement door handle click and turn as I sat in absolute darkness. I moved slowly so as to absolutely be silent and crawled through our large television. And crawled behind our large television.
He crawled into the TV.
It sounds like what that movie, Poltergeist.
Yeah, a little bit.
As I passed it inch by inch, I noted with panic that its black screen still dimly glowed. I heard footsteps coming down the carpeted but creaky stairs.
I froze in my hiding place listening. For many long minutes I heard nothing. Had the intruder seen the television's afterglow, or had it faded in time? Was it standing in the pitch dark listening for me? It seemed to lie there in total silence for an indeterminably long time. My panic began to fade, and I began to think more clearly. Had I really heard an intruder? Could someone possibly be standing there in silence for so long without making any noise? The basement was so exceedingly quiet that the silence itself began to hurt my ears. Could the unknown person really avoid any noise from shuffling or breathing or anything else? If there was an intruder, it was still in the basement, but the creaky stairs were incredibly loud. The door handle clicked, and I wouldn't know to mask its footsteps on the first floor, so they couldn't be heard down here. I began counting in my head, trying to pass the time as drool fell from my mouth into the carpet. I didn't dare risk the sound of swallowing. I reached 60 seconds once, twice, 3 times, 60 times. By now my fear had faded, and I was more confused than anything. I'd estimated I'd been crouched in the absolute black for almost 2 hours, and had still heard nothing. If there was an intruder, none of this made sense. Finally, I decided I'd make a move. If I did nothing, eventually the sun would come up and shine in through the smallest basement windows, and worse, I began to smell something horrible and cloying.
Slowly, ever slowly, I began inching my way towards the stairs by the way of the walls. If someone was standing there in the dark, I should be able to go around them and then make a break up the stairs. Meanwhile, the horrible odor grew stronger. Had something died down here in the night? No living person would smell like that. Terrible images of some sort of corpse monster listening for me in the dark erupted in my thoughts, and I moved as fast as I could without making a sound. Just as I finally approached the stairs, there was an enormous clatter as of something falling or collapsing on the floor. It was at that moment I leapt forward and crashed up the stairs, running out through the open basement door and my wide-open front door. Now certain that someone was in the house, I called the police from my cell phone and watched my house from afar. The police came, checked inside the house, and then grimly came back out to question me. They found a body in the house, my elderly neighbor, who seemed to have died of a heart attack. Their belief was that I must have left the front door unlocked, and he must have wandered in my house while dying, looking for help. At first I felt horrible, thinking that I had sat there in the dark while the old man literally died a few feet away. Then it occurred to me, what the hell was that loud noise of things falling? That last prompted me to bolt up the stairs and out of the house. I asked the police, and they confirmed the back door of my house had been left open as well. Near a single bare footprint in the mud. Somehow, for some reason I'll never know, there was someone else in the basement with us, silent, waiting and listening in the dark over the fresh corpse of an old man.
And that was The Basement. Very short story. 2 stories that we read that involve the darkness. I just kind of wanted to pair them up because sort of similar themes, not really, but the idea of hiding in the darkness from something unknown. So what'd you think of this one? This was a lot shorter, obviously. What'd you think?
It was more, it felt more, I don't know, like, I felt like it's the narrator just was like, okay, this is probably, like, not thinking at all who that could have been, just hiding. Okay, I'm gonna hide. Oh my god.
Well, because again, like, he doesn't know what's coming down the stairs. He hears,
right,
he
so
clearly
what
hears.
else
So, like,
do
again,
do?
you have to imagine his situation. So, like, you can even see there's pictures that come with the story. Not the top. The top one I think is a pretty generic photo, but
Yeah.
I think this is the photo that comes with
It
it.
illustrates it, yeah, pretty
Right.
well.
So this is the look from the top of the basement stairs. I guess there's, like, you go down the stairs and there's, like, a room off to the right or the left or something that you can't. That's where he is.
Now, if somebody died, how soon after it died would it start to smell? I don't think it's immediate.
Well, no, but I think he would crap his pants, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking
Yes.
that too, but he didn't really describe it like that.
And
Maybe.
plus,
whatever.
Plus, when they said it was a heart attack, the guy would be gasping.
Yeah, he
And
would
first of
be
all, how the
making
hell-
other noise.
And also, how the hell did he wander into the, like, that fast into the neighbor's neighbor's
okay,
house and
so
then go
I
down the
don't-
basement without falling down.
Right, it
first.
doesn't. The story itself doesn't make any sense because either the guy with the heart attack walked down the stairs, and you should hear something, right? Because he's dying, right? Dead silence. Or he died. This guy, whoever it was, carried him down the stairs, but you would still hear him put the body down.
Yeah.
There's no way you could do that silently.
Right.
So it's a little.
It was kind of lack of detail too. It was lack of details too, because like he was just saying, "Oh, we're down in the basement watching this movie." Okay, where in the basement are you watching this? Is it near the boiler room? Is it near the laundry room? Is it right around the stairs?
This is very scary stories to tell your friends in the dark style story. Like
Right.
very it's a twist. It doesn't really make a lot of sense.
A lot of creepypastas are like this. I don't really read a lot of stories like this when more people are here. I usually go for, especially earlier on, I usually went for the big, the big fish. I went for the pen pals of the world.
We gotta sell out.
Well, not to even sell out, but it's more like I'm trying to get you introduced to the genre.
No,
so I went with the very popular ones, but now I'm trying to get you. Now that we've kind of done a lot of the popular ones, I'm trying to wrap you guys back to what a lot of these are.
Stories like this are like dancing down an Indian hallway or whatever.
Right.
Where it's sort of like like you finish the story and you're like, oh, that was kind of creepy. But then if you actually think about it, it makes no fucking sense.
I think
it's not as effective as you think it is.
I think I always like
Batman vs Superman.
Oh, right.
The thing about creepypastas is that 95% of them are pure shit. And that's something. No, honestly, that's the case. We haven't read the shit. We haven't read a lot of the really shitty ones. We have read some shit ones, but not a ton. I think I've done a pretty good job.
It's a good thing that John picked this as a topic to talk about for a podcast to just ruin us.
No, not even a ruin, but I'm just explaining.
You can't
my whole thing with creepypastas now is I usually like stories if there's a unique idea in it, and I like this, and this story stood out to me because of this idea of this man dying in the basement, but we don't know exactly what happened because there's another person involved. And the idea of sitting in the dark, well, there is, because someone ran out of the house through the back door. So he ran through the front door, some other guy ran through the back door, and the body was there. So maybe it wasn't, as simple as a man having a heart attack. Maybe something else happened.
Right.
We don't know.
I was half expecting it to be like one of his family members.
I was like,
that would have been
his mom.
That would have been the scary stories to tell your friends twist. That it was just his mom the whole time, like the humorous ones.
Yeah,
but
I was literally expecting that too. I was like, okay, this kid's just growing crazy. It's just his mom.
Is it creepy? Is the idea of it creepy? Yes. I just don't think the story's creepy.
I think I think the first.
I think it's more creepy if you were a child. With this,
I guess
it gets in the beginning it gets pretty. You get the chills pretty quickly. You get them really early on where he's like, I'm going to be in my basement in the complete dark trying to listen to scary movies,
right.
And then he hears pounding upstairs and he's pretty much trapped.
Yeah,
he can't leave.
But the thing was, you knew exactly where this was going. And it wasn't
did you know where this was going?
I knew exactly as soon as he was in the basement, and as soon
Did you assume Did you assume it was an old man with a heart attack, or no?
Well, that was the part I didn't assume. I didn't know. I literally knew where it was going. When someone was coming down the basement, that obviously the narrator knew, but I thought it was the mother who was coming down. Except until they twisted it with, oh, it's just an elderly man who had a heart attack.
It's 2 hours. That's the scary thing for me. The scary thing is this person.
He said what he assumed was 2 hours.
No, he guesstimated. Yeah, but he's counting in his head. He's counting in his head a bunch of times. So it's clearly a lot of time has passed.
It's enough for it to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
which is scary.
I like the idea that
it's just not effective.
I like the idea of this man dying and this other person, whoever it is also scared of whoever else is in the basement with him, so he doesn't move. I don't know, but the problem...
I guess.
But there's a lot of holes when you think about it. Why bring... If this is a murder, why bring the corpse in here? Are you trying to frame...
Why dump it in somebody else's house?
Are you trying to frame the other dude?
It wasn't a murder. It was a heart attack.
Right.
No, but there's somebody else involved, Dill.
There's someone else
involved. Yes,
or maybe this other...
The thing was, they lacked the details. Like, if it was a murder... Why is there a lack of something happened to the body?
From a narrative standpoint, you're supposed to assume that the person even if the person isn't involved at all with it, which to me, you're supposed to assume they're involved somehow with this old man.
Well, that was my suggestion. Was maybe they're not.
But even if they're not, it's still fucking weird
that there's someone else.
That there's somebody standing over a man dying in a dark basement, not making any fucking noise.
Well, that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about if he was a killer or not. You guys were talking about if he was a killer. I have no problem with. I'm just saying everyone assumes he's a killer. Right. But this old man had a heart attack.
Still creepy, just
Could've been,
not...
Also, I totally forgot about this too. Maybe he was the one helping him just to get help or something, which would be weird. Now that
but that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Because why would you? Why would you stand over?
As I say it out loud,
it's weird.
No sense.
It's a spooky story, but I feel like if you try to analyze it, that's when it starts falling apart.
It lacks a lot of details.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of like a quick spook, and then you're out.
I think with this quickie, with this story, I think this is the case of the author kind of rushing the ending a bit.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I think it's hard to. I think it's okay to write a story that is short. I think there needs to be some substance, though, and that's the problem with writing really short stories.
This could have been This could have been really a lot dumber than it was.
Right, of course.
And the story's not
if I have to pick a story, I would say shorter generally tends to be better, because when the longer you get, the more chances there are for there to be holes.
Right.
But I feel like if a game of Flashlight Tag kept going, there's a chance for something to be messed up.
But the thing is, though, if it's too short, kind of like this was kind of too short.
There's not enough substance.
Yeah, there's not enough to make it credible.
This type of story, though, I feel like it loans itself to not having a lot of detail, because there's not. Again, it's like a quick hit, like it's like a quick spook.
It sounds like the story's more geared towards younger audiences than maybe older audiences, because as a kid,
I don't think that at all. No, I don't think. I don't think this author.
As we're reading it right now, it doesn't feel like something that I would. Why would I read this now? I don't feel scared. I really don't.
Again, well, no. I mean,
you're not supposed to feel. I don't think many of these stories are supposed to. Again, it's creepypasta. It's hard for a creepypasta to outright scare you.
I think if you,
especially when they're shorter like this.
I think if you
just get a little creepy, it's fine.
If you put yourself in as the narrator in the situation of the story, it is scary.
Yeah.
But I think outside looking in and analyzing the story itself, it's not.
I think a dumber author would have said like, and then I grabbed my baseball bat.
Yeah,
and I started looking around.
Or it would have been some bullshit like whatever it was.
I was
half
expecting him to at least grab something like, okay, I'm ready to hit
see something behind him, something like that.
It has to be like something that's like instinctual. Like he just grabs something instead of like thinking on his toes. Like, all right, where's my baseball bat? Let me go grab it. No, he hides behind. He just hides behind the closest thing he can hide. He just does the first thing he thinks of, which is hide behind the TV. Right. Which I think gives it some credibility. And speaking of the author, M59 Gar. That's an interesting name, but thank you for the story. Good idea. I think the story has some good thoughts, and it's just really short and lacks some substance. But good story overall. It's a fine story. Not as good as a Game of Flashlight Tag, which once again was written by Twilight Sparrow. So good stories all around. A Game of Flashlight Tag, I think, was a big surprise. That was actually recommended to me by Beth, I think. I have to
Beth!
Shout out.
Can't wait till we see the drawings for this one.
We'll see. But anyway, this has been Scarier Friends. It feels good to be back. A lot of shit's happened to me in the last couple of weeks, but I'll be fine. I'll get through this, and
we love you, John. We love you. The fans love you.
Audience.
The fans love you.
Jesus Christ.
The audience fans love you, and I'm
going to look like a real asshole if I keep this in.
What?
You're fine.
So this has been Scary Friends. This has been Skillfully. I will see you in the next one. Signing off with Dan and Dylan.
We'll be back. Hopefully we'll have more people in the next one.
I like doing these smaller ones though sometimes. Yeah. All right, see you next time. Stay safe. Take care of each other. I just got a text from William in the group chat.
I see that too.
Oh no!
I don't know if I want to read this, but maybe William can contribute to the podcast that he's not here.
Oh boy!
I don't think I want to read this, but I think I kind of okay. I'm gonna.
You have
Do
to.
you
It's
want
not
to
that
try
long.
or
It's
do you
not
want
that
me to
long.
do it?
It's not that long.
I'll try. In funeral, rest in peace. Lord, forgive mine's man. May he... Oh, there's a lot of You know what? There's a lot of emotion.
There's a lot of
May I?
Sure,
please?
why don't you do it?
In funeral, rest in peace. Lord, forgive mine's man. May he bust the fattest nuts in heaven with Jesus Christ. Mans didn't deserve to die. I hope he got to bust one final nut before death. The final nut. In heaven. Stop. You may not enter the gates of heaven. You must prove that you can bust nuts, worthy of a holy man. Wait, why are you making that face? Are you? He's about to bust. Bust nut all over my face. You are the holiest man to ever enter heaven. Thank you for your nut. Amen.
All right.
So I'm texting William right now. Dylan is reading this in the middle of the podcast.
Praise be to the nuttiest man. Hallelujah.
Holy shit.
Well, don't say that. That's just going to encourage
Do you want me to screenshot that and you could post it in the video?
I can screenshot that.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be easy.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, now
Praise be to the busted nut man of the
That was
world.
scarier than the flashlight tank.
It wasn't. William's
No, the way it looks is scary.
I don't want to bring it on because it's kind of personal, but that snap that he said to us before was fucking.
All right. What?
Philosophy with
Deadpool and philosophy, and he snaps a picture of it and writes as the caption, "Fuck this gay Earth." Oh God. Just he's a brilliant man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
The basement, John.
No, this is my okay.
Okay.